Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, acting VC, members of the BPO Council, the CEO, various academics who are here, and of course our Honourable Minister who's just returned from Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't intend to make a long speech. In fact, I had asked the acting VC if I could speak last. But I just wanted to make a few points. The FNU, the way that government envisages FNU, is to essentially provide a tertiary institution of excellence that not only excels in the academic field, where it has academics who teach, who themselves are very highly skill-setted, have the right qualifications, but also are able to offer courses that is recognized internationally and has international accreditation. FNU also should at the same time be able to offer courses, what some people call vocational courses, what we may call TVET, and various other areas that have a practical application and is highly responsive to the employment needs and demands of the market. That's critically important. The BPO sector obviously is a growing sector in Fiji. It has been there for a while, but it has been fairly nascent, it has been fairly new, imbecilic if you like, childish one may say, but it is now maturing quite significantly, and this is why the government in the last budget gave $300,000 for the first time to the BPO Council to spread its wings, to be able to market itself to countries in particular within the region where we can take advantage of and indeed market our own skill sets that's available. A few years ago, post 5 December 2006, I think it was around about 2008 or 9, the company Mindpearl decided to come to Fiji and set up a call center, and we were obviously very enthusiastic that they were coming here. In fact, for 3 years, we subsidized the wages they paid to Fijian staff that they employed. The reason why we did that was because we saw an opportunity that if you have a significantly large international company coming to Fiji, we wanted them to stay here because essentially then they become advocates for you. And there's nothing better than third-party validation. So we actually did do that. But I remember talking to them and I'd say, why have you chosen Fiji? What's so great about us? And they highlighted 4 things. Firstly, they said you exactly 12 hours behind ahead of Greenwich Mean Time, which puts you in a perfect or good time zone. You have good infrastructure. We have the Southern Cross cable that lands in Fiji, which connects Australia with the west coast of North America. Thirdly, we all speak English. And fourthly, apparently we have very neutral accents. They don't need to spend millions of dollars as they do in Philippines and in India, where they train staff to get rid of the accents. So some Brit, some Aussie, some Kiwi, some American can actually understand them. So which is obviously, that's the 4th one I was not particularly aware of. So that obviously is an asset that we have, which we need to take advantage of. And the pandemic obviously has been problematic for all the countries in the world. It has brought about obviously economic downturn significantly. None of the countries have actually grown. In fact, all of them have gone into negative growth rates, except China, which probably I think grew by slightly over 1%. But everybody else actually went to negative growth rate. Now, and there has been enormous number of job losses. But it also has meant at the same time, and this is what life is all about, it has presented a number of opportunities that we thought did not exist before. People have become now a bit more tech savvy. People have started to have meetings through Zoom and what have you. So it has also meant that many countries that perhaps outsourced their work to countries further afield are now thinking of bringing that work closer to home. And I'm talking particularly about Australia and New Zealand, where they had outsourced to countries like Philippines and perhaps even India. Now some of them are actually thinking of bringing them perhaps potentially to Fiji. We had a meeting about 2 months ago where you had a number of Australian companies that outsourced their work to Philippines. They're looking at opportunities in Fiji. It's great that they are looking at that. We, of course, would like them to come to Fiji, but we ourselves have to be ready. We have to ensure that we provide the right skill sets. Fijians have the right, the ability to be able to be responsive to the market. And we see FNU playing that role. We don't want anybody else to play that role. We want FNU to play that role. Acting VC, in fact, the other day I came across a paper where we're looking at, for example, there's a policy being developed, and I'm digressing slightly, developing a policy regarding how do we accredit child care facilities. Because as you know, a couple of budgets ago, we did allocate some funding, and we've been working, the Ministry of Women actually has been working with IFC to establish child care facilities in particular places where mothers work. So for example, we have one street in Vatuanga industrial area where there's about 4 garment factories. Now if we had a child care facility in that street, the rate of absence from work would actually reduce significantly. The mothers, who as you know are predominantly the caregivers and the nurturers of our children, would feel a lot more comfortable knowing that the child is just around the corner. But obviously they need to meet a particular standard. And in that paper, it said that those people who will run such child care facilities need to have a particular level of training. And that training should be provided by, amongst other institutions, FNU, including APTC. I have a slight problem with that, because the idea of APTC is to build local capacity. And FNU really should eventually play that role, probably sooner rather than later. Because we need those skill sets developed in Fiji. We can adopt the same syllabus, we can adopt the same criteria of assessment, but we need FNU to be able to provide that particular role. A lot of people view the BPO sector as simply answering phone calls, but it's becoming a lot more sophisticated than that. We now have people, for example, making insurance claims, forms being filled out, questions being answered. We also have, for example, areas of potential where you could have accounting services being provided. Majority of the accountants who graduate in Fiji have, CPA qualifications eventually. They could provide those accounting services from here. So I mentioned to a couple of the large 4 accounting firms in Fiji saying that your sister branches, etc., in Australia, New Zealand, Melbourne, Sydney, wherever they are, could have those services being provided by Fijian accountants. And there obviously would be a lot more higher paid jobs. So there's enormous opportunities in that space also, as opposed to somebody simply answering a phone call. I think linked to that are things like coding, and we have mentioned that in the past. We need to look at aspects of providing training in coding, and some of these courses can be run in 9 months, and I would urge FNU to please very quickly and urgently look into those areas. Bring in people from offshore, get them to train the trainers, and we need to be able to provide those types of services, because we have been, for the past number of years, been on a project to diversify our economic base, which we have been doing. But of course, we're still very heavily dependent on the tourism sector. And we want to grow that sector, but not necessarily as a percentage of the GDP, but in terms of numbers. So I think, when you have a population that, where 70% of the population is below the age of 40, the age range, common age range of those people who currently work in the BPO sector is between the age of 19 and 33 or so. That's the age range. There's obviously ample opportunities for people, the younger population, to get more jobs quickly. And I think what it also does, it does open up opportunities for people to, because the traditional model in Fiji has been, when you're studying, that's all you do, you study. You don't necessarily work. Whereas, offshore you have people who will work in a place like a BPO outlet and then study also part-time. It does give people that level of flexibility, in particular if it's a 24/7 operation. So this is, I think, very exciting what is happening here today. We also, for your information, just to reiterate, I've got the figures here. We, given the opportunity in this space, we announced a number of incentives. So for example, there's a 13-year tax holiday and customs duty exemption currently available for businesses engaged in software development, call centers, customer contact centers, engineering, design, research and development, animation, content creation, distance learning, market research, travel services, finance and accounting services, human resource services, compliance and risk administration services. And also a 20-year tax holiday is now available to BPO operators too. To incentivize, of course, the construction of buildings and other infrastructure for the BPO sector, depending on the level of investment, companies can qualify for tax holidays for up to 20 years, as long as 90% of their income is generated from BPO services. So essentially what that means is that anybody can come along, put up a building and say, as long as 90% of that building, they rent it out to somebody who's going to set up a BPO center, they get a tax holiday. Because most BPO companies, when they come in, they don't want to buy bricks and mortar. They want readily available places where they can simply come in, plug in and start doing the job. The reason why they come to Fiji is, apart from, like I said, the infrastructure, is because of the people. So the people are their assets, not bricks and mortar, not tables and chairs. The assets are the people. So if we can make it available to them, so this is why we offer this incentive, make available the infrastructure, the bricks and mortar, may have sites available. So people who invest, so we want, somebody who's got a bit of cash, they can invest in that space and they will get various levels of tax holidays. So ladies and gentlemen, this is what government has done. We want to take a holistic approach. It's critically important that in that completion of that sort of mosaic piece, the FNU plays that pivotal role in providing the training. And I would urge you, please, also to think beyond just the basic training. Work very closely with the BPO Council. Somebody had sent to me on a plane, this is about 4 or 5 years ago, who had come in from Brisbane to set up a call center and said, one of the disadvantages is that Fiji does not have the right type of training for this industry. He said, I still have to bring managers from offshore, because there's no Fijian at a managerial level that can run the BPO center for me. So there's obviously opportunity there, and obviously our people are quite capable of doing that. We have over 600,000 Facebook users in Fiji separate accounts. 95% of Fiji is connected with mobile telephony. We have just got a project, for example, in Vanuatu, where we're connecting 40 different sites, remote areas, either through satellite or other forms of connectivity. So villages, settlements, homes, nursing stations, schools, all of them are being connected. So that level of penetration is taking place quite significantly. Out of all the mobile phones, for example, that are in Fiji, only 7% are not smartphones. The rest are some form of a smartphone. So they have access to internet. So for us, it is also very useful too, because as you saw in this pandemic, government had also outsourced a lot of its services. So some of the helplines or some of the other numbers you called because of health reasons, etc., they're all outsourced. Outsourced through Vodafone or various other companies. So you had young Fijians who were chairing those calls. They were sitting in those chairs, filling in the spaces. So it creates jobs. And government would like to also outsource a lot more work in that respect. So we would encourage the FNU Council, the Council, and of course yourself as acting VC and the academics to please think outside the box. It's a great opportunity. You're 100% funded by the Fijian government. We want obviously to see a lot more runs on the board in this space. We'd also commend the BPO and the very energetic CEO. We look forward to them bringing more businesses. We need more runs on the board. And we believe it's a good opportunity. I mean, the reality of the matter is that if you have a cyclone tomorrow, if a BPO is running, they'll continue to run. When we had the pandemic, they continued to run. They still got exemptions from the curfew. The buses were running for them. Jobs continued to be there for them. So the economy keeps on moving. Those people have sustained livelihoods. And of course, overall, it's very good for the entire country itself. So thank you once again, and we look forward to hearing more good news from FNU and of course the BPO Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Attorney-General and Minister for Economy, Civil Service, Communications, Housing and Community Development, the Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum, the Honorable Minister of Commerce, Tourism and Trade, Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum, the Executive Director of the BPO, Council of Fiji, Ms. Sagufta Janif, officials from the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Tourism and Transport, members of the FNU Council and Senior Management Group, business communities, ladies and gentlemen. Nisambula Vinaka Namaste, Assalamu alaikum. It is an honor to welcome everyone to the Fiji National University this afternoon. Today's launch is a culmination of the tireless efforts of the Ministry of Commerce, Trade, Tourism and Transport and the BPO Council and the Fiji National University. FNU is a proud dual-sector university, and we recognize that technical and vocational education and training, TVET, is as important as education for the future success of Fiji and our neighboring Pacific Island countries. We have taken a bold step to elevate TVET education to the next level with our newest brand launch of the TVET Pacifica. The last one will be in 2 days' time in the north. For the past few weeks, we have been reaching out to our stakeholders to create more awareness about TVET programs and embedding the feedback into strengthening our courses and program delivery. I must congratulate the Minister of Commerce, Trade, Tourism and Transport, the Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum, and the President of the BPO Council, Ms. Carol Watkins, for their vision and insight to engage the Fiji National University in the development of their specialized BPO courses. From an education and training perspective, new initiatives from the industry to improve and localize our curriculum design are much appreciated. We often talked about engaging local stakeholders in our program development to ensure that we walk on the ground to hear, understand, and capture the needs and concerns of local industries. I applaud everyone involved for the development outcome we are launching today. The BPO Council and the Ministry of Commerce, Trade, Tourism and Transport came up with the idea of developing a few short courses for the call center service providers in Fiji. Both organizations recognize the need to improve local capacity and capability with call centers in Fiji for upskilling customer services representatives and build a cadre of agents that are compatible with international call center standards. The training will not only benefit the call center providers in Fiji, but also upgrade the customer service training in Fiji as a whole. Lastly, at FNU, we are committed to putting our students at the heart of everything we do, to working together with students, with employers and development partners, to ensuring that our TVET programs are future-focused, entrepreneurial and innovative, and to tailoring our offer to the needs of the post-pandemic economy and the opportunities of the 21st century. Vinaka Wakalevu.